Hello and welcome to BurntMas, a 5-part video series where I drop some Halo 1 speedrun knowledge bombs on you all. Today's video is going to be short and simple, and we're just going to cover how to use 6.8 sensitivity to do already existing tricks. In other words, how many extra clockwise or counterclockwise turns do we need to add to make the trick work? Let's get started. Alright, let's start with Sam Skip. So unlike the regular setup, this one's going to guarantee that you get the merge every time. I'm going to do that by not crossing the zero boundary. Crossing it during the starting cryotube section is totally fine. So all we're going to do is just make sure we turn such that we never cross that zero boundary over there. We'll go through the rest of this just like usual. I'm going to skip doing the bullying and the look inversion. Doesn't matter either way. So like the previous setup, we want to make sure we get that stand on the yellow square dialog. We're going to crouch and walk backwards into this corner. Continue to hold or tap backwards while finding this very specific lineup at 1.682. I'm using the top left corner of my screen as a visual indicator. Once we're in this nook, all we want to do is do a 1 tick strafe to the right. That will get us into a consistent position every time. From there, we just do the usual walk forward and jump. This setup's good because we'll never get pushed out of the way by the spinny bar. We will always get it to phase through us like we want. And then the rest of the trick plays out like usual. You're still going to have to time the E press correctly, which is difficult, so I'm just going to cheat. As simple as that. I wasn't initially going to include this in the video since I couldn't figure out anything good for eliminating the stair skip nook jiggle, but Sarah and the Legend came in clutch and found a setup which they're letting me describe here. So the POA turn route from the bridge onwards is pretty simple to avoid the zero boundary. Just be careful when going through this donut room here while setting up the shield bump. And make sure you turn left after getting the shield teleport. And after platforming to the load zone, make sure you turn right to go back into the final nook. Once you're mostly in the nook, you want to aim at this dot just to the left of it with this line up. Then start doing brief 1 tick taps of your W button. This will put you into a 100% consistent position after just a couple of taps. Then to guarantee a consistent in-tunnel telly, do a clockwise turn and then aim at this lineup. Then do your usual 2 tick and all that. For an over the tunnel telly, instead turn to the left from here, aim at this lineup, then do the 2 ticks. So in the previous video I talked about 2 new tricks on this level. I'm not going to be talking about those 2 tricks here, instead I'm going to be talking about the 2 old tricks. The ones that Argentina representative used in his previous world record time of 3:32, the RSS and CJS. That's going to be covering how to do a 6.8 setup for that. I'm going to turn counterclockwise once we get into the RSS nook. This is the lineup I like to use. For CJS though, we're going to have to add an extra counterclockwise turn. Once we get into the CJS nook, we're going to do the same counterclockwise turn that Argentina did in his 3:32. For the library light bump, there's never going to be any 100% consistent sensitivity minute for it as long as we're using frag jumps during the run, because of the way they tend to essentially randomly shunt our view angle around. But I can share with you a set of rotations that will always work if you don't use any frags, but this is also ideal to use even when you are using frags, since the random shunting on average will tend to cancel out. This clip that I've been playing is the natural turn route, but when you get to the lifts you want to make sure you turn left to face back at the entrance. At some point during the level you're also going to want to fit in an extra counterclockwise turn to the left. Once you get to the light bump setup itself, you want to hit the door trigger, then turn left as you run back. Do the up warp normally, making sure to turn left after doing the up warp. After getting into the light, turn left to face at the lineup. If you haven't zoomed in at all during this level so far, you don't have to zoom in now. You'll be able to just look at your lineup and go. But if you have zoomed or you have been hit by frag grenades, you probably do want to zoom for the lineup. By the way, you might wonder how we can avoid using a frag jump at the start on Legendary. The answer is to use the carrier jump. Let me show you. This is going to be useful if we ever find a setup for first floor skip. So the key is IL Geo Bump. It's actually pretty simple. All we have to do is add an extra clockwise turn at some point. Maybe after doing the flood bump. There's not really a convenient spot to do it. Honestly, this might be one of the rare cases where it's actually better to use a different sensitivity. At least for IL runs. The more cafe bump where it all started. This is one of the more annoying ones because to make the cafe bump teleport to the far door on the mall with 6.8, you have to add 3 clockwise turns over the natural turn route. In my opinion, the easiest spots to squeeze in these turns is while falling down this ladder, while waiting for the flood to break the door. The third turn, I'm not sure there's really a great spot. Maybe at the start do a jump and just quickly spin while in the air. But if you do these 3 turns, even if you do them super fast, you won't have to worry about drift ruining your cafe bump teleports anymore. It's going to be 100% consistent on 6.8. Alright, well that's it for this video. I know it's a short one and there wasn't much groundbreaking stuff here, but they can't all be bangers. The next video is probably also not going to be that interesting, or at least it probably won't be relevant to the speedrun. I just wanted to document some quirks about how MCC handles time. And let the bells ring out for BurntMas. I'll see you then.